But when you measure it flat, it contradicts that. I'm spitting flat facts and that. And I know you don't like that. Google Maps is flat, it presents elevation profiles like that. I'm a spitting flat earth king. Sentence has a ring, doing my own thing. If earth was a big roast chicken, factually finger licking chicken, we just got the measurements missing. I'm spitting eggs and begs, begging the question lesson. I've said it before, time after time. I'm the spitting flat earth king of rhyme.
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe. Hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a coffee, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and X. Now we are joined by Neil, Len, ClickOK, OneDeck, and a whole bunch of people in the Flipside Discord server, so welcome one and all.
How are you?
Good day.
Hello.
I've had the flu for about the last... I lost track of days. I've been in bed for at least 3 days. And today I got out of bed. I'm like, I'm going to go out and get some fresh air. I took a parcel. My wife's been taking my microphones that sell to the post office or whatever, parcel shop. So I'm like, no, I'm going to go out. I'm going to get some fresh air. And I thought, oh, no, I feel all right. This feels good. I'm all right. I could do a show. Within about 5 minutes of starting, I'm like, oh, I feel terrible. I shouldn't have done this.
So even though you were sick, you managed to get some book in, right?
I did yesterday and the night before. So the night before I did do a little bit of book with my wife, and yesterday we did several hours. Now the night before last, when we started it up again, I was still really ill, and multiple points. Actually, that I recorded that session. I sent it to you, Neil.
Yeah, you look horrible in it. I even sent you a message. Why don't you just go to bed?
I did.
But I'm glad you got some work done in the book, man. It's getting exciting again.
I've got a deadline, right? I want to keep that deadline of Easter. So from that perspective, I got out of bed and did it, and just like looked rough and just got on with it, paced around, feeling ill, and back and forth to the loo. Not that you need to know that, but you know what I mean. I just got it done, and we will continue to do so. So yeah, the book's coming along swimmingly. It's really good. I read the first 3 chapters. So what I've been asking my wife to do is, instead of having it in separate chapters in separate Word documents on separate files, each time we complete an edited chapter, we add it to a new Word document that's like continuous. So it's like one chapter after the next, like a book. So it's like looking more and more like a book. But she sent me the first 3, actually 6 chapters, because there's 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5. Do you know what I mean? And I just read through it today, which took about an hour to read through the first 3 chapters. So number 1, as I've said prior, it's a considerably more lengthy endeavour than I first thought. Like, I don't know why, but 2 or 3 years ago when I first started writing this book, I was like, I don't want it to be small, right? I want it to be substantial, which is to say, if you're going to put 10 years of knowledge and understanding into a book, number 1, you want it to be charged at a really high rate. In other words, you want it to be expensive. It's not just something that's throwaway. As far as I'm concerned, it's a book that will have longevity. That's why it's taken such a long time to produce, along with other reasons. But yeah, I want it to be expensive. Not expensive, that's the wrong word. I don't want it to be cheap. That would be a better way of phrasing it. I want it to have a higher perceived value. That is to say, if it's 10 quid rather than, let's say, 40 quid, then it seems more disposable than it actually is. Now, given how fundamental the information is with respect to the world and your reality, I feel that there is a necessity to have it at the very least perceived to have a higher value, because it does have a high value. The information, that is, has a high value. So it needs as value and price aren't necessarily intertwined, but in this case they are. That is to say, I want a high ticket value to make it plain that this is a high value book. Make sense? But that also means the content's got to be good. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's true, and you're not just saying that because sometimes you can, regarding other things, say fashion items or jewellery, because it's expensive, you automatically think that's better, which in most cases it is. But I understand what you're saying. You're not doing it for that reason, putting a higher price tag on it because you want it to appear that way. Like you said, the work that's gone into that book, the 10 years and the information that will be drawn out of it, it's a book that can stay on your bookshelf forever and a day. So yeah, I totally understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, even on reading back today, there's still going to be things that I think I need to take out. So, for instance, I'm talking about a TikToker, and I'm like, I want to take out this terminology. I also mentioned Discord. So, talking about people coming in via my public gateway on Discord. I'm like, maybe I just need to change that to my electronic gateway to the public show, rather than via Discord, or rather than a TikToker when talking about a video we've reacted to. Like, I'll just say a videographer, because then it becomes a bit more timeless. It dates it badly. If TikTok disappears tomorrow, right, suddenly it really badly dates it, doesn't it? Yeah.
And not everybody knows what Discord is, like you say. So, yeah, just getting it down to its bare bones, what it means,
Yeah, those are very minor alterations compared to the swathe of changes that I've made in my own text. So when I originally write this stuff, I'm like, this is great. And then you come back and listen to it read out by someone else, in this case, my wife. I'm like, no, that isn't correct. That needs rephrasing. And then you read it through, make all the changes, and you go, right, let's read through it again. And then you read through it and go, no, it's still not correct. It's just not contextually making the point I want to make. So then you go through it again, make the change. Like I say, in this instance, I'm not going to release any of the editing process. So in the past, because I've been working with people who I didn't know whether or not I'd get fucked over by, I've released various stages of the editorial process to the public so they can see whose book it is. Now, in this instance, I'm only working with my wife. I'm pretty confident she's not going to screw me over. So I'm still recording the whole sessions, the whole process as I had been previously. But I'm just not publishing it to members. So that's because we're so close to the end. It's like, well, even if you are a member, I still want you to buy my book. Whereas if I've released it all in the editorial process, there'll be no need for you to buy it. So as much as that's hopefully, fingers crossed, a much smaller section of the people who I hope this book will appeal to, I still want everyone to buy it. That's kind of goes without saying. So if you're kind of like, well, can't you release the editing process? Well, no, it is available. You've opened your line in the middle of me talking, Neil. It is available on YouTube. That is to say, I've got it as unlisted videos, but I'm only sending them out where necessary. So Neil, who's a mate, was like, get to do the live show, moaning in one of my other shows that I released yesterday. So I just sent him a link because he said, I hope you're getting the book done. So I sent him the unlisted video. It's like, here you go. This is me very ill working through chapter 3 on science and the scientific method. So, that is available. It's just not going to be published to members. I'm really sorry. Maybe I'll do one. We'll see.
I think it's important you probably keep a lot of it as close to your chest. As close as your chest as you can, really. I mean, obviously, there's certain people and within this group that you can speak to and, release some information, but you want to be keeping it close to your chest, and then when you're happy, and release it. The less people know, the better.
Well, I agree. There's a few people in chat that are saying, "Oh, his book is still in the makes." I'm like, it was never not in the makes. Just because a couple of scumbags wanted to become authors, nothing's changed except the editor.
Yeah,
I've reserved my space on the bookshelf next to that other timeless glossy classic, Planet Earth,
and The Lion, the Witch, the Wardrobe.
Is there a chapter for second law of thermodynamics?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's covered throughout. So in the first 2 chapters, the second law of thermodynamics comes up initially when I'm introducing myself, and in chapter 3 when talking about science and the scientific method. I think it also comes up in chapter 2. I think it's in all of the chapters. It's mentioned, at least in a cursory manner, when describing what our opponents have as their belief, this violation of the second law of thermodynamics, sky vacuum. So far, it's been mentioned at least 2 or 3 times across the 6 chapters that have been edited thus far. So yeah, to answer your question.
Nice. And is this book online, or is this going to be a hard copy book?
I don't know the intricacies of that. I'll speak to the publisher. I don't want to concern myself with that yet. I want, obviously, there to be a physical book that you can physically hold, right? And I'm sure that is a capability. Like, I've just literally been sent several books by Level Playing Poem, one of my Patreons, and at great expense to her, she's made me aware of her books, her poetry, and indeed my entire family by sending me physical copies. So I'm sure that is something that can easily be achieved. Well, I hope so. I don't want it to just be an ebook. There's a good chance that initially, just for the sake of getting it out there, it might initially just be released as an ebook. I have no idea. I just don't want to... I vaguely remember having this conversation several years ago, but I just want to get it finished, and then I'll concern myself with those things after the fact. But I appreciate that's a question I will have to ask him at some stage, and what the logistics of that are. And there'll be people who say, I want you to sign a copy of it. You're like, fine. I know, again, thanks to Level Playing Poem, that is something easily achievable. Well, not easily, it's been achieved at great expense, right? She's had to pay a lot of money to get me her books. But the point is, I've got books with her signatures on them, yeah? With personalised notes on them. Well, that means that I've got something special, which I'm very proud of, I might add. Started reading a second of 4 just literally a couple of nights ago. And by reading it, my wife, when I was all ill, was like, I know you're not up to doing the book. We had just done a bit of the book. She's like, but would you like me to read you a bit of this other book that was sent to Eleanor, the second in 4 that she sent, along with a calendar? She sent me 5 items. I was like, yeah. So she read me 2 or 3 pages of that, and I'm like, my head hurts. But I have started to read the second book. Once I've got to the end of it, I will talk about Level Playing Poems book. Yeah? So, like the second of 4. Once I've got to the end of it, I said this on the first one, the one that Clover got. I read it and then was like, okay, I'm confident I can now talk about this. I folded over a couple of pages on poems that I wanted to talk about on a show, flicked straight to them, talked about it in an efficient way that obviously demonstrated I actually read the thing. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to be that guy that's like, oh, I really like this book. On page 16, there's this. Yeah. So, yeah, that will be something that I'm sure is capable. But I haven't discussed it with my publicist. I will.
Is there any significance to the release date with like rebirth or whatnot, with it being Easter, or is that just a deadline to work towards?
It's just a deadline to work towards. It wasn't really even a deadline. It was just a prediction of how long we thought, my wife and I, that is to say, thought it would take to work through it. So that was put on arbitrarily based on, I think it'll take X amount. X will bring us to Easter. So it has become like a deadline because I've told people I think it'll be done by Easter. But I don't care. It will be done when it's done. If it happened to take till August, so be it. If it happened to take till this Christmas, so be it. If there's delays, so be it. Right? I'm less money orientated since wanting to homeschool and be a YouTuber than I was when I was out in the corporate world as a rep, flying around the world, flogging electronics to studios and dealers and such like. Well, those times my concerns with how quickly things got sold and was, right up there. But I've moved on to a more simple life that's not necessarily just geared around how much money I've got. Now, it has meant that ever since I made that decision, I've been incredibly poor. And even when I'm ill, I'm still doing work, which is this. And I've said this before, this work, this YouTubing, is a delight. So I can do it, even though I do genuinely feel like death currently, right? what are we? We're 20 minutes into the show. I'm already feeling pain and going, oh, this is awful. I feel like crap. But I will battle through, because what are we doing? We're having a chit chat about my book currently, which is lovely, right? It's about me, not to be too self-absorbed, but you know what I'm getting at, right? This is good fun for me, specifically in this scenario. We're talking about me. It's like that Johnny Bravo cartoon. I'm sure I've detailed this many times previous, but a cartoon of Johnny Bravo sat across the table outside a cafe with a cute blonde. They're obviously on a date. And as it zooms in, you can see that they're talking to each other. And as you get a bit closer, Johnny Bravo's the one doing most of the talking, right? And then as it gets closer, he says, anyway, that's enough about me. Let's stop talking about me. Let's talk about me. What do you think about me? You broke up. Was that one deck?
Yeah, I was just laughing along with you, mate. That was all. Yeah,
Oh,
good,
jolly
funny.
good.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm running the show today. Hopefully we'll get some super chats in, because I'm poor. That's the main reason why I do it. keep the bills paid. As much as I can go on about how fun and wonderful it is to be around you gentlemen and ladies of the audience.
Well, somebody in chat says, yeah, I wish the ghostwriter/editor would get the book finished already. Hopefully there will be a physical version.
Is he talking about my wife? Yeah, she makes that joke too. It's got a bit old now, but yeah. Yeah, we're working together. It's getting there much, much faster than it did with my prior editors, I might say.
Yeah, I was going to say that. You see, I mean, as much as the whole thing's been a long, drawn-out process with difficulties in unseen
Betrayals.
accounts happening. Yeah, you've sort of cracked on with this, haven't you? And it's you know, not as much time has been wasted.
Yeah, well, while it was being reattained, let's just say, in a format that could be worked on, I was writing extra sections for it with a newfound enthusiasm. So the anecdotes were written. For the most part, I don't know how Neil's ended up in this privileged position, but I've been sharing the anecdotal sections with him as I've been writing them, you know, just to get him nodding along and saying if I'm going in the right direction, and he's giving me high praise. Occasionally I've read out little snippets of them on the live shows, the bits that are new to the book. So it needed more anecdotal information, and now it's become about a third of the book. So it's a third anti-globe rhetoric, old school flat earth debate, a third new school flat earth debate, earth's measured flat, and a third anecdotes about the characters and individuals and events that have taken place to come to those conclusions and move away from the anti-globe rhetoric. So it's kind of, I would say, a reasonably equal third split in terms of those three things. So I obviously like the third that's all about me. The anecdotal stuff, rather than the stuff that's specifically about boring characters like Copernicus or Kepler or Huygens. Who cares? Let's read the bits about me. What do you think about me?
I think like you were saying in the pre-show, where we are now, I'm noticing more and more, like you said, probably the last 6 months. It's so easy now listening to a globe believer when they're talking to you about whatever. They're going to have to mention some terminology of how Earth is measured flat and utilized that way. That's not trickery. That's just the way it is. They've got no choice, and it's being pointed out every time they do it now, where it wasn't previously. We'd miss things. I'm finding I'm doing it more and more, even in everyday scenarios. You know, just in general conversation. Earth is flat and level. Sea level is level. You know, and we're really zoning in on that fact more and more, and it's very telling.
It's going to cause people distress, and if you in any way are affected by the fact that your globe faith is based on flat earth measurements, then you can seek help at 1-800 Flat Earth Debate.
And once you see it, you can't not see it, right? One deck, every time you turn around, it's like, but we used to miss it. Back in the day, we would skip right past the flat earth that they were using, but now we don't. And now we can't because it's immediate and constant. It's like you're seeing it everywhere.
Well, they're definitely going to be mentioning distance, which is a linear measurement. Whatever they're going to be talking about in measurement will have a distance or a height above sea level. Sorry, I mean mean sea level. So just from that beginning point of the conversation, there's going to be a reference to a flat horizontal level measurements. There's no way around it. But like you say, then they go into, without going word for word, I was talking to a globe a keyboard little chat the other day, and I was talking about the measurements being horizontal, a little bit of celestial navigation. And basically he was telling me, well, yeah, we can do that. All we need is an imaginary horizontal. So in his mind, he just needs a horizontal, imaginary horizontal to measure Earth curve. That's where we are with this now.
Yeah, so in other words, when we're measuring Earth with a horizontal, that horizontal is imaginary. It's only real when we've taken that imaginary flat plane that we've measured and then we calculate sphericity, which is real. Makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't want to get back into the globe world with him, but my point is now, why would you use an imaginary horizontal if you do live on a curved Earth with a circumference and a radius of 3959? Why wouldn't you just use the curve and measure the curve? Why would you say to yourself, I'm not going to measure actually what it is. I'm just going to use an imaginary horizontal to measure this globe. I mean, it's absolutely, this is the point we're at, guys.
Because you have to measure it flat first. So in essence, he's not lying. He's telling you the truth, right?
Yeah. Well, they have to. The truth is now, you can't get away from the truth, can you, Neil? You know, that's a fact.
No, he's trying to just say imaginary, but he has to measure it flat first to do anything moving forward.
Exactly.
That's just the way it is.
Yeah,
the other thing I put on thingy, just to, sorry, Nathan, it was just Bev's been using it and McToon, they're going on about this Theodolite app. They think they've got some sort of magic trick with this Theodolite app. So I did a little bit of research on that, and it's programmed. It's on your phone. They're using this app to take measurements and on the phone with the Theodolite app, and then say that, well, it fits in with the globe. But when you look into the make and who's produced it, it is based on the WGS 84 mathematical model of a globe. So they're not actually taking a raw measurement of Earth with this phone. It's already been programmed to give you globe information calculation there after the flat Earth elevation angle measurement, just to let you know.
Oh, I see. So the Theodolite app. Oh, I was wrong. So where I said that they can't cope when they require a measurement, they'll substitute in a calculated value from an application that's derivative of a model that's been created using the flat Earth angle measurements taken with real theodolites, and say that this Theodolite app is a measurement. No, it's taken it from a WGS 84 model that's been calculated into existence based on systems that are measured off a flat plane like latitude. So that's how they will cope. Oh, well, that's sweet. Oh, so the Theodolite app lets them detach the actual measurement that theodolites can achieve with respect to a plane of reference, and references the model that's already taken those measurements, so they can more easily ignore what a theodolite really does. Oh, that's really sweet. Oh, well, they get to cope for another day, don't they? Until we come along and point out, well, okay, do it with a real theodolite then.
Yeah. That was brilliant, Nathan. You broke that down so well. That's exactly what's happening. That was absolutely fantastic. Well said.
I need more caffeine. That's what I need.
Well,
Oh,
the
we're only-
Adelaide only covers short distances, though. Don't forget that. Over 5,000 feet is, that's too short to measure Earth flat. Don't you know that?
Stop caring, Neil, like I said earlier on the pre-show. If you need these coping mechanisms to justify your belief in a world that's created using actual flat Earth measurements, so be it. Right? Let's have a laugh about these things moving forward. The guy, no offence to him, right? There's a guy in the Discord server called Zark in the pre-show, and he's like, well, we must do something about this. There's a standard that we must uphold. Nah, let's just have a laugh at them. Who cares? Like, seriously, who cares? Will it make any difference to what a theodolite actually does?
No, it measures Earth flat.
Right, so who cares?
It's
what
one
the
of the
app
30
does?
words, yeah.
Like, us pointing out, no, this, what the app's actually doing is not taking an angle measurement. It's like, what, you're telling me that you don't appreciate that a phone's not a tool for measuring angles? That's a phone, it's for making phone calls. Just laugh at him. Right, you think your phone's a theodolite?
Yeah.
And they're fundamentally different things, though, aren't they?
In the future, you're going to be seeing the surveyors with some sort of tripod with an iPhone 14 just clipped to the top of it.
Yeah, exactly. Like pretending that
Hey,
they need
speaking
it
of
on a
phone
tripod.
calls,
Say again.
speaking of phone calls, I got a question.
Go ahead.
Did McTune call you from Antarctica?
I don't know if he was actually in Antarctica, but he called me when he was alleged to be there, yeah.
Okay, because he had a show and they were claiming he called Nathan Thompson, not you. But I was like, I'm pretty sure he called Nathan Oakley, but
I don't care. I mean, Nathan Thompson's a good guy. He can share this credit. But no, he called me.
So what did he say
boy.
to you when he called you?
Wait, who was saying that?
Him and his friends.
What he said to me was,
Well-
I've seen the sun for 24 hours. What you going to do about it? And I said, you're measuring Earth flat, Toon. And he said, where are the guns, Nathan? That was pretty much a good summary of the conversation. I was literally
And he
only
asked him
writing about
the
this.
guns, and he deflected with measurements.
Yeah, I was only writing about this yesterday. Literally. Like all ill. Talking about how producers recognise the irony in him saying, he tried to deflect to measurements. Oh, where's the guns, Nathan? In this Antarctic abyss.
Yeah, but you see how that gets them? Once you went to the measurements, that's when he became unhinged.
Yeah.
At least you didn't deflect to a mobile theodolite app.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, we were saying this in the pre-show as well. The opponents, if you want to perceive them to be so, are quite content to argue with you all day while you tell them that the Earth's not a ball, or that we see too far, or that we're not spinning. They love that. As soon as you say, no, you see this elevation angle measurement that you've derived radius from at Alexandria and Cyan? It's a flat Earth measurement right there. Then they go bonkers. Because they need it. That's their measurement. You need Earth to be flat.
Yeah,
Good.
I had one the other day. I was going about Alberuni and Eratosthenes like I usually do with these globers, pointing out that their flat Earth measurements. And it went on for some time, and for some reason, he started asking me how to explain something about how the sun works on the spring equinox, which I'd not made a claim about or not mentioned, but I was just simply kept pointing out the fact that Eratosthenes and Alberuni was measuring elevation angles and depression angles on the surface of Earth. And then I had to suddenly try and explain something about the sun's movement during the spring, which I had no idea what the guy was talking about.
Describing the equinox is still just an elevation angle measurement of the sun description in terms of the pattern that the sun performs. That's described and logged mathematically with elevation angles. It's still just flat Earth derivations, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yes, it is. I could have pointed that out, but I was just pointing out how they try and, for some reason, think they're going to steer you away from the fact, which you've just pointed out, that you're pointing out that Earth's measured flat, but then they go and drop themselves in it again because, again, like you've just pointed out, Nathan, that was another flat Earth elevation angle measurement proof from flat Earth.
Yeah, you can't get away from them. If Earth's actually being measured, I mean, as opposed to looking up what a model that's been derived from those flat Earth measurements says in terms of what your phone can measure as an angle, your phone isn't measuring angles. But when you actually measure Earth, you can only measure it flat.
Yeah, that they don't like that. But they'll talk about how you supposedly have these globe debunkings. They will entertain you all day long. Go to different servers, you'll hear it all day long. Trying to debunk a globe, they love that. They eat that up. They'll stay in a conversation with you all day. But the minute you bring up measurements, then you're public enemy number one, and then you got both of them attacking you. You got the globers fighting for the globe, and then the flat earthers debunking the globe, turning on you.
Yeah, everyone seems to appreciate at some subconscious level that we need to keep the measurements of Earth in the geography category so that ballers can utilise them. That's sacrosanct. You can't mess around with it. You being a flat earther, we need to keep that in a science category so we can call you a science denier. But when it comes to actually measuring Earth flat, like on screen now, with an elevation angle measurement to the sun and a flat plane beneath the angle that you're acquiring, then you need to keep that in a geography category so that we can use it as ballers. Nobody's going to like you for pointing out that you as a baller require Earth be measured flat for your belief. Then you just become public enemy number one. And if you're a flatty, well, they're not flatties. I've relabeled these people. I'm going through that and I'm amending it in the book too. These people weren't ever flat earthers. They were anti-globers. Telling you how Earth's not a sphere isn't being a flat earther. Asking whether or not you can see curve from a given altitude measured off a flat plane does not make you a flat earther. As I say, in the pre-show, I keep talking about what we had a good conversation in the pre-show, but become a member today. There's a guy who appears constantly, a flat earth proponent, alleged to be a flat earther, and his videos constantly come up on my shorts feed. Right? Why? Well, because he asks questions like, can you see the curve from this altitude? Like, altitude's a flat earth measurement. If you're going to number the value in height, you're describing a flat earth prerequisite elevation perpendicular to a plane in feet or meters. That's what you're doing. You've got a flat earth measurement to ask whether or not you can see curve from that height. Well, people love that. The anti-flat earthers love it. The globers love it. Everyone loves it. YouTube loves it. They'll put you in my shorts feed. Now me, where am I appearing? I ain't appearing now on shorts feed. Why? Well, because what we're talking about is very different. We're talking about what's on screen now. Elevation angle measurements to the sun require a flat earth. End of discussion. We need a flat earth. You need a flat earth. I need a flat earth. It is measured as a flat earth. Yeah, you don't become anyone's friend with that information. But who cares? I don't care. I don't care if you become my friend because you find out that you require Earth to be measured flat. I don't care. By you, I mean the globe believers out there. But this will send them nuts. I've said this over the next couple of years. You mark my words. Somebody make a note of me saying this. That it will result in our so-called opponents, they're not, there is no debate, descending into madness. Now, initially, they'll try and cope with lies and repositionings of angle measurements and say that taking a phone reference from an app that's called the same as the tool that measures angles off a flat Earth means that they'll cope for a day. That's all that will mean. But the more we reiterate how Earth is required by them to be measured flat to achieve their ball faith, Over the course of the next couple of years, we will watch those people descend into madness. I absolutely assure you.
No, that's a fact, because what we did was we simplified it, and that's driving them insane. They want it to be complicated, because it was kind of complicated when you're debunking the globe, when you first got into this so-called debate, right? It's a lot of heliocentric stuff. Very complicated. A lot of mathematics, very complicated. Now that it's simplified to just a measurement, oh, no. We cannot have that.
Well, it will be contrasted, that descent I've just described, the descent into madness from our former perceived to be opponents on the globe believing side will be contrasted by a curve of indifference on what was previously our own side, as people actually come to the realisation that Earth is measured flat, as opposed to their belief in a flat Earth based on how limited the view of curvature provides. Well, the more people that recognise, no, it's just measured flat by everybody in all circumstances. The suggestion, for example, that you've got a curve to calculate relies on you measuring a flat Earth horizontal distance, a flat Earth surface level, a flat Earth altitude, a parallel flat Earth eye level, all of these things that are actually measured with respect to Earth and its flat surface to make an inference that we should see a certain distance on a ball. When somebody who currently believes in Earth being flat recognises that it's measured flat in all circumstances, their level of indifference will rise. That'll be to say that they no longer feel compelled to try and convert next man to their belief in a flat Earth, therefore argue about it. They'll concern themselves less and be worried less about whether or not the next person they talk to understands as they understand that when Earth is measured, Earth is dealt with and measured flat, because that's what Earth is. Otherwise you wouldn't measure it that way, and we do. So the more appreciation from our side that who cares what anybody else believes in this regard, it's just measured flat, it's not that serious, the indifference level from flat earthers, legitimate ones, will increase. But the slope into madness will be what we see contrasting that. The descent into insanity from our opponents as they recognise the awful truth that their belief in a globe relies upon Earth being measured flat. So you'll see the two things contrasting each other. Peace.
I don't know. I forget the guy you mentioning, Nathan. The guy you said he'll give you the flat Earth for that. They've only, I think he had a little bit of a breakdown. Did he? Was he the one who passed on his channel to Toon? It started there a little bit, didn't it? How long ago was that?
Yeah, he's the monkey that escaped the cage and bit everyone in Outbreak. Yeah, he's ground zero. Yeah, his descent into madness, that's conspiracy cats, was recognising that to make an argument for a ball, he had to, and I quote, give you a flat Earth for that perspective that he was calculating. Well, why would you give me anything? If it's measured ball-shaped, you just measure it ball-shaped. But you don't. Earth's measured flat. And to make an example that's utilising any form of Earth measurement, in this case perspective, you being the ball believers, will need to give me a flat Earth. I don't care. Don't need to give me anything. You mean you need to measure Earth flat? Yeah, you do. What did he do after that? Gave up his tune to the next man. Gave up his channel to the Toon, I should say. I'm ill. But he gave his channel to McToon and buggered off. Started talking about ghosts and stuff, went a bit... Yeah, that's what he did. Seeing ghosts and ghoulies, talking to people like Ranty, complete conspiratards. The descent into madness originates with conspiracy cats. He was the first to recognise the awful truth that you will require a flat Earth for that perspective that you're measuring with respect to Earth's surface. That's how Earth gets measured. It didn't matter whether or not he was having a discussion with me about it. At all. For him to make that measurement, Earth was flat. But did it matter that he was arguing with me? No. That's my indifference level. His descent into madness. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, and it's going to be constant too.
Constant what?
Going to be constant. Their descent is going to be constant. The more the measurements are brought up and talked about, and the less debunking of a globe there is.
Well, they're using the apps that have already been derived from flat Earth elevation angle measurements, and then mathematically turned into spherical measurements. Same as spherical geometry. That's just a mathematical model as well, after measuring Earth flat with the tools that are designed to measure Earth flat, like total stations, theodolites, levels from surface level, and then it's put into a mathematical model called, spherical geometry. So they'll start throwing spherical geometry at you. Have you not read the peer reviews, Nathan, of these documents that first measured Earth flat and then calculated it into a sphere?
Spherical geometry is the study of geometric shapes like triangles and polygons on a sphere's surface. Is Earth a sphere?
Well, that's incorrect. You don't have triangles on a sphere surface.
Yeah, then they're not triangles anymore.
Right. So the definition itself is incongruent with reality, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
It
Meanwhile,
goes on to say it shares concepts like points, lines, and angles with Euclidean geometry, but with some key differences. Yeah, it's not a freaking triangle. That's number one.
Yeah,
like we say, there's no such thing as spherical geometry, because you don't, like you just said, Neil, you don't measure the Earth spherically. It's just measured. Yeah. What Brian used to say is it's just geometry. It's not such a geometry. We just measure Earth flat using angle measuring tools, and we use sea level, which is part of the Earth we live on. Sorry, I mean mean sea level for all elevation profiles on Earth. That's just how it's done. It's geometry. Yeah. That's what it is.
Credit where credit's due to Brian's logic, the flying monkey.
Oh, he used to just say there's no Euclidean, there's no spherical, it's just geometry, right?
Yeah. There's no such thing as spherical geometry. It's just geometry. Now, you can violate certain principles in geometry by relabeling it, and then people will accept this violation of a base principle measurement, so long as you can whistle past it. Like, I don't know, taking the concepts converted into sphericity from flat Earth measurements in a form of, I don't know, WGS84, and then take the detailed information from the model and line it up with an app that's named after a tool that measures Earth flat. I don't know, a theodolite. And then you can whistle straight past the actual measurement and go to the already acquired data that's been converted into sphericity for a bit of cope. I mean, that can work really wonderfully if you're looking for that cope. Now, I know what a theodolite is and how it measures things. I don't think I've ever seen a phone-shaped theodolite, but maybe I'm wrong.
Listen to this. It says, the question is there a difference between spherical geometry and Euclidean geometry? In plain Euclidean geometry, the basic concepts are points and straight lines. In spherical geometry, the basic concepts are points and great circles. However, two great circles on a plane intersect in two antipodal points, unlike coplanar lines in elliptic geometry. Now there's elliptic geometry?
Well, it didn't answer the question. The question was, are they the same or not? And what it's done is described the tools that are used within geometry and the descriptive words and functions of geometry. It didn't actually answer the question, did it?
No. It just described them both.
No, there isn't a both. There's only one. It's just geometry. Regardless, when it comes to Earth measurements, there's only one way of doing it. Derivative calculative models will always have the disclaimers of the processes that they use. So, for example, when we were previously in the worldwide debates server, there's some guy who's asking me if I accept what WGS84 does for Google Earth. And he reads out the definition of what it does, and within the description, it's describing latitude. I'm like, okay, so we need flat Earth measurements for this calculation. And it doesn't beat around the bush when it describes how it's calculating into existence the sphericity, and then taking points of data after the calculation and conversion from latitude. Like, well, okay, so you need latitude. So we measure Earth flat then, and then calculate your ball into existence by your own definitions. Yeah. Now, the more we highlight this, the more we recognise how the ball's created. That's to say how it does function, how you can make these conversions from flat Earth measurement systems into sphericity for the sphericity once conjured to be functional in a fashion that violates the base principle measurements that you've created it with, but ultimately you're still creating a ball to have a degree of functionality. Well, us unpacking that and explaining it to an audience is not us denying it. It's us embracing it and its requirement of flat Earth measurements.
Exactly. Listen to this. This is funny because I've seen this in writing. I've always said it, but I've never seen it in writing. The sphere shape is a three-dimensional shape with curved surfaces. Unlike other 3D shapes, such as a cube, cuboid, cone, or cylinder, a sphere has no faces, no flat surfaces, no edges, and no vertex. But they measure Earth flat, though, right? So you have a contradiction here. It says there are no flat surfaces on a sphere.
But not even any local ones.
Oh, no flat surfaces. That's the unique thing about a sphere. It says it right here. I'm reading it. It's pretty interesting. No flat surfaces.
Well, this is why the theodolite, for example, was on our 30 words, because you're not going to be using the theodolite when you're trying to convince yourself that you're measuring sphere shape. Sorry, can't pronounce it. Yeah, you won't be using that tool, so you can remove it from your vocabulary straight away. That's why it's on our 30 words. So you don't need to argue the toss about this and that. You ain't using that. Same as you're not using a sextant. It's an elevation angle measuring tool. Nothing to do with measuring Earth curvature. So, that's the simple as that.
Yeah, once you measure an Earth flat, Earth is flat. It's as simple as that.
The Greeks all knew that.
This is very troubling.
Yeah, it is troubling, mate. Very troubling. But this is what they're doing. They're trying to, because you can do AI doesn't help things at the moment, like we all sort of know. So you can find this. They will, AI will tell you some crap and nonsense, and it changes as things develop and move on. So sometimes it does. If you're not really into it and don't really know in the depths like we do, it will tell you about it throws the curve in and the spherical when it's talking about measuring angles. It contradicts itself. It lies. But so that doesn't help, as we've found or as we're finding. But as for these idiots, that's all they're bringing up now. Spherical geometry, which we've just gone over, imaginary horizontal lines, which is imaginary. They can't measure a curvature because there is none to measure. And it's very telling. I keep finding, when we talk about, they don't like talking about. I'm asking somebody else again to explain about the Earth curve measurements and how the Greeks measured it. They won't answer me. Just do your own Google search one day. You'll find the answers there. I said I have done my own Google searches and I've read books about it, but it's much more enjoyable when I listen to you tell me how Eratosthenes measured elevation angles using the surface of Earth. It's more enjoyable.
You'll just want to welcome me to Flat Earth, though, one day. You only want to welcome me to Flat Earth, don't you?
Yes, Dave, I do. Come in.
I thought that was Iroquois boy. You did that pretty good, Nathan. I gotcha.
That's Groucho Marx.
You're not gonna bully me.
So yes, mark this day when you're watching your counterparts on the globe side descend into madness. Mark these words. It was inevitable.
Nathan, it happened last Friday, 2 Fridays ago. Wherever we were at worldwide debates, it was happening then. They're losing their mind.
Yeah.
It's going to drive them to insanity. It will. That's why Katz got out. He's like, look, if I keep this up, I'm going to lose my mind. Here you go. Take my channel. I'm out.
It will happen. I'm telling you. We will see people descend into madness. And it'll be unfortunate. I mean, how much popcorn do we need?
I mean, we do have concern for our fellow man, do we not? I don't want to see them lose their mind.
Speaking of Katz, his most interaction with me was about this or along this line, right? So he came to one of the shows and I'm saying, there's no debate anymore. It's just measured flat. And he said, are you not even going to pretend that there's a debate anymore? I'm like, no, but that's what you needed. You needed there to be the perception that there was a debate. Those times are over. Like, I'll give you a flat earth for that, Katz. Why would I need to pretend that there's a debate when my own opponent, you, are telling me how flat earth must be for you to even make the argument? Right, you'll give me a flat earth for it? Yeah, you will. That's the end of the discussion. It's not like you need to give it to me, though. That's just how earth gets measured. You know, the perception that you need to be giving it to me. I mean, I'm grateful and all, thanks.
This is funny.
That was one too many times, right? That he said that and it clicked, right? Before that, we used to just walk right past all the flat earth prerequisites. But when he said it that day, he went a step too far.
Yeah. Well, his counterpart that he gave his channel to is going through the same descent, right? We're watching it happen in real time.
Yeah, too. The other day with Vaxie, you're right, Nathan.
On a flat earth, what, for the distance? There's only one type of distance. Bye-bye, madness awaits. Maybe he'll give up his channel to the next dickhead. Who knows?
Sorry, Nathan. I was just saying. I just pulled up. I was messaging some Glober. It's just a random reply. This, but you'll get the. Well, I'll just go to the paragraph where he just. I'll read it you all. One deck, so we can add how to do measurements to the list of things you are clueless about. Not all measurements are direct. Actually, the vast majority of measurements are indirect. Example, measuring voltage, current, and so on. And a classic speedometer, like this bit. But you are not even right on Eratosthenes or Al-Biruni only having measured angles. they both base their calculations on both the measurements of an angle and the distance.
So they did measure angles and distances.
Wow.
I mean, so he's trying to like come up with something to say I'm wrong, and he's telling me that they both base their calculations. So there was calculations on both the measurements of the angle and the distance.
They don't just make measurements of a flat Earth. They make measurements of a flat Earth and then calculate from them. Oh, that's a wonderful rebuttal. It's almost like you're completely agreeing with one deck.
Yeah.
In fact, you are.
Thanks for agreeing.
Good stuff. Well, we're up on the hour. I'm halfway through making my thumbnail for the show.
Then they're going to start with their second order measurements now.
Second order? What first orders measure Earth flat, Neil?
Yeah, remember they were on about the second order measurements or something like that? I forgot how they termed it, but it's still a measurement.
I wonder what they're saying, though. I mean, if all these people, if they're getting to this point now, like Mattoon and, the crew, they're having little meetings together around the round table. And they're saying, right, what are we going to do now, lads? How are we going to tackle this? I wonder what can we start saying to get out of this paradox we're in? I mean, what can they come up with? I mean, they must be speaking to each other about it, how to tackle this, and because they all need to be singing from the same hymn sheet, I'd say, or they need to appear to be. So I don't know if they are saying we'll use apps that have already calculated. I mean, they might have spoke about that and said, let's just start throwing this app into it, which is already calculated for Sphere in the WGS 84 mathematical model. So I wonder if they are getting around a table and discussing this in depth.
Well, they got to stay away from the measurements, even though they can't, right? But what they're doing now is they're just going to skip right past it, totally ignore everything, and go into space. Because you got Artemis coming, you got the footage that NASA's going to send out, showing a plane flying antipodal. You have videos coming out of TFE, the documentary. You got all types of documentaries coming out now, and how, flat Earth is dead. So everything is looking towards the future for them.
I'm going to lean into that too. Yeah, flat Earth is dead. It's just been incorrectly labelled. So anti-globism is dead. When people like Jeranism and Bob Nodell, when they were, for whatever reason, removed from this community that was called Flat Earth, the anti-globe rhetoric started to die. Now, we had to cut loose a few scammers and con men recently who were also very much wrapped up into the whole anti-globe thing. But, times move on. The world, on the other hand, doesn't change. How it's measured will always remain consistent. Flat.
Yeah, well, what are you going to do if you can't show your superiority by debunking the globe when you know heliocentrism inside out better than them? If you just say it's measured flat, you're making me redundant. Why am I here?
A good question. With that, I'm going to say, if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley premiering streams, then stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, though, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. So another massive thank you to all of you who liked, commented, shared, subscribed, joined as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member. Hit me up on PayPal and Patreon and all that good stuff. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.
But when you measure it flat, it contradicts that. I'm spitting flat facts and that. And I know you don't like that. Google Maps is flat, it presents elevation profiles like that. I'm a spitting flat earth king. Sentence has a ring, doing my own thing. If Earth was a big roast chicken, factually finger licking chicken. We just got the measurements missing. I'm spitting eggs and begs, begging the question lesson. I've said it before, time after time. I'm the spitting flat earth king of rhyme.